Hello, transport nerds and fellow planners, and welcome back to Talking Planning. As you'll probably be feeling, winter has arrived, and out in parks, it's certainly made its presence felt. Top temps have been around 10 or 11 degrees, and the wind chill's been pretty nasty. So, for this week's episode, I want to share some warmer experiences. But first, I have some big news. Last Friday, Talking Planning broke through a big milestone, and I am super excited to say that over 1,000 of you have subscribed to the channel. Thank you. So if you've been around since the early days, I want to say a big thank you. And if you've joined more recently, I also want to say welcome. My original vision for Talking Planning was to focus more on urban and regional planning topics. But as you can probably see, it's taken a slight, massive pivot towards public transport, with just a hint of planning thrown in to keep it spicy. Still, it's been an enjoyable journey, even if full-time work has limited how much time I can dedicate to creating reviews. On the plus side, seeing your responses and comments has really given me an appreciation for how important transport planning is, and that helps provide extra motivation to put 100% into the work that I do. On the other hand, it also highlights how there are lots of different perspectives and motivations in the transport space. From heritage preservation, to promoting accessibility, to reducing emissions, and to long-term future planning. And that's more of my focus. So if you wonder why I purposely don't call Talking Planning an enthusiast transport channel, that's why. Speaking of spicy, after cold and rainy days, I think it's time for a dose of sunshine. So let's head down the New South Wales coast on a sunny December day to check out a Premier Illawarra Mercedes-Benz 0500 LE. Today's journey starts in Kiama, where after jumping off the train from Bomaderry, I sprinted for the waiting 71 bus to Shell Harbour. Prior to this rather long day trip from Sydney, I hadn't been to Kiama or Bomaderry, so it was good to get some nice views as I travelled along. If I had more hours in the day, it would have been great to explore around town. But then you wouldn't have had this review, so it goes both ways. Premier Illawarra has a large number of Volgren-bodied Mercedes, and 35 of them are 0500 LEs like this one, 2617 MO, built in 2009 with a single door configuration. Premier's fleet is large and varied, although these make up a good portion of the route service fleet, along with the similar OH1830 LE counterparts. When it comes to the interior, this bus is pretty much typical Volgren with grey plastic roof panelling, yellow stop bells, and something revered on this channel, comfortable bench seats. The 71 can be quite a long journey, and because I pretty much travelled it end to end, the soft seat base was much appreciated. The fabric chosen here is another classic bright pattern special, and if you've watched an earlier one of my reviews, you might have seen it before. It's a little less gaudy than that Transport Canberra fabric, but it's still pretty bright. When it comes to 0500 LEs, getting specs right is tough, because there's a wide mix of specifications, but I suspect this has the larger 11.97 litre turbo diesel, either rated for Euro 4 or Euro 5. At least I'd hope so. Have a listen now. A rather loud aircon hiss decided that it also had to join forces as part of this journey, but on the plus side, it was helpful at reducing the noise impact of some seniors who had plenty to say, so on the whole, not mad at it. I did have my earbuds at the ready just in case they wanted to boast about how much their home values went up and how much they protested affordable housing. Still, it was nice to enjoy a lovely sunny day, and the coastal views in this part of the world do not disappoint. But unfortunately, as with many local commuter-style buses, those lovely coastal views quickly transform into winding in and out of suburbia, and being a dispersed population, there's also a highway blast thrown in for good measure. And what would a suburban bus be if at least one end of the trip didn't terminate at a shopping centre? Still, that gave me a test to see how it did on the highway, and it holds its own well, keeping up with traffic, only being overtaken by the impatient tradie or SUV driver. But after a few minutes, we exited the motorway and one of the largest controlled roundabouts I've ever seen, and another one of these passes by. After rounding the roundabout, it was off to Stockland Shell Harbour, where I swapped the Merc for a Bustech XDI to continue into Wollongong. So, thanks for joining me, and I will see you again soon.